Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums, and this is Sandy's 13 Frights Before Halloween. Today I used some more Tim Holtz products to make a spooky Halloween card. In this case, I let the embossing folder do all the work for me. I mean, this thing is filled with details and you really don't have to do much. So let me show you what I did, and then I'll show you what I made. Okay, so I'm using 110-pound watercolor paper, and the secret to using these embossing folders is to spritz it with a little water. So that's what I did, and I came out with these. So I'm playing around with a couple of different ones just to see the different effects. I am using the Distress ink in black soot, and just, as you saw, dropping some on the side and just keeping it moist. This one I'm wetting and taking all of the stuff that comes off of it and putting it on. Why am I not using black paper? Because I want to get layers on it. I don't want it all very opaque and solid. I want layers. Now, in the end, I don't know that you actually see the layers, but that's okay. I'm having fun playing with ink. So here's another one. I might play with this later on, but I love the effect of when it is wet. You can see the lower surfaces. You know, there's like high points and low points, and the ink just settles in the low points. But when it dries, it doesn't give the same effect. I think I need to play with different mediums, but it was fun. So now I'm taking my Distress paint in tarnished brass, and it's got that paint dauber on it, and that is fabulous. It's a little dry on the top, so I just sort of push it down on the top and just sort of dry brush over the top in a couple of different layers. Again, that's what I'm going for. I feel like layers is what makes everything stand out a little. So yeah, it's going to be heavier in some areas. That's okay. It doesn't bother me. And at first I go right to left, and then I go up and down. And I just put it on, let it dry, and put it on again. I'm taking my embossing gun and drying it. People are asking me, why don't I use the heat tool? And as I've explained before, I don't have room to have two tools. And you're like, it doesn't take much. But listen, I live in an RV. I don't have very much room in my RV, so you got to make things do double duty if at all possible. Yes, I live in an RV. I travel. Sometimes we're in a place for a month. Sometimes we're in a place for a day. Sometimes we're in a place for a couple of months, like over the winter. So I have limited space. I am at the point where I've gotten some new materials, and so I'm going to have to get rid of some stuff. I think some of my old embossing powders are going to have to go to make room for some of the inks that I've purchased. You know, like if you buy new clothes, you have to get rid of old ones. Same with my crafting tools. Okay, I'm using the Foundry wax, and this is in, I'm looking for the color, Statue. So it's not a gold, it's a coppery gold. But that's okay. You know, it's metallic, and it's got that really bright metallic-y finish, and it's perfect for a very top layer. So I'm putting it on, just using a dry brush and just putting it on in the highlights. Now that one skull that's in the center on the left-hand side, he's going to be featured prominently, so I end up paying a little more attention to him. The ones on the bottom, you're probably not going to see. At first I thought I was going to cover him up, but he's such a cool dude, I don't want to cover him up. So again, I'm taking that Foundry wax and just putting them on some of those highlighted areas. And then I take my embossing gun and melt that foundry wax and let it do its magic. I mean, look, what a difference from just the plain inked surface to what I have now. I'm putting more foundry wax down. I realize I really don't need it. But you know, I hate to use it up. So anyhow, adding it here and there. I will heat it up one more time. And let's see what we have when we are done. That foundry wax is magical stuff. So I'm taking some sheet of double-sided adhesive. I'm making sure it's all off of the edges. I did cut this paper down a little bit. I could tell you the size I cut it down to. About 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And I'm putting it on some plain black cardstock. I have several layers going on here. So I'm just trying to make sure it is perfectly aligned. And there's just maybe a 1/16 of an inch on the cardstock, not very much. I like very small borders for most of what I do. Taking my bone folder and pushing it down, and now I'm going to glue it onto one of the backdrops, and this one is sort of a marbleized backdrop. You really don't see it, but it's just got a different, the tone matches nicely, but it's not matchy-matchy. So I'm just putting some ink on the edge of that backdrop, and then I'm going to take that, and I'm using ATG on the edges and some glue in the center to put on this metallic paper. And then I realized, oh, you know what? I was going to put some yarn on. And when I say yarn, it's this fun fur stuff. And I grabbed some gold thin thread as well. And I thought I would sort of intertwine the thread. I cut off 2 lengths of it. And I'm spending all this time making sure the gold works well. And here, I'm sorry you can't see it, but I'm just sort of intertwining it. And then I put it on the card, and I was going to put it on the side and realized, no, it's got to go on the bottom. You just don't want to cover up that cool guy on the left-hand side. So then I pull it through, and I don't need to go all the way around it, so I just tape it just so it all stays while I'm gluing it in. Just making sure it will all fit, making sure that gold is intertwined, because I really wanted that gold. And then I glue it, I put more glue, or tape it, then I put more glue on it. And then I'm ready to put it on the card, making sure it's even. And then I realize I do not like that gold. So I cut it off. Yep. No harm, no foul. It's not glued down yet. And even if it was glued down, I could just cut it off once it's down. It just looked too, I don't know, just didn't like how the gold looked intertwined with the fun fur. So again, I am really, for the 3rd time, gluing it down, making sure it's even on the sides. And I like it. You know, I have this one boo and think, nope, that's not going to do it. It's too bold for what I'm going for. So in the Halloween label stickers, there was a word that says beware. I didn't want to do Happy Halloween. I wanted something a little more spooky. So I'm putting on some dimensional adhesive I should have cut it a little bigger because now I'm using just pieces. Because I want it to be raised and sort of straddle that black fun fur. So I'll peel off the backing of my dimensional adhesive. Do I want it on the right or left? Yeah, I definitely want it on the right, sort of to offset the dude. I had layered up that Beware. There's gold below it, then that foundation, and then some black cardstock. And that is what I have. I really like how it turned out. Let me show you some close-ups. And while we're looking at the close-ups, I want to remind you this was part of the collab from Sandy Trefker's Sandy's 13 Frights Before Halloween 2022. So if you use the hashtag, you'll see other people who have joined in the collab. They are also listed in the description box below. And there are other people who have posted their 13 Frights Before Halloween. So check them out. And don't forget to do the thing, the like, the subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And as always, thank you for joining me. Have a fabulous day.